and I also hope that you are having a good day so far. So today we'll be doing our grade 5 English lesson on reflexive pronouns. So we'll be doing our grade 5 English lesson on reflexive pronouns. And before we start with our lesson on reflexive pronouns, you're going to log into aplusstudents.ca. So you have logged in with your username as well as your password. Once you've logged in with your username as well as your password on aplusstudents.ca, and then you're going to select the subject of language arts, which is also English. Once you've selected English, you're going to scroll down up until you get to grade 5, and then our chapter, which is going to be reflexive pronouns. So we are going to basically find out today what reflexive pronoun is, and then we are going to choose between personal as well as reflexive pronouns. Right? So we are going to identify the difference between choosing between personal as well as reflexive pronouns. All right. So reflexive pronouns, right? So our chapter is reflexive pronouns. Our subject is English, which is language arts, grade 5, and the lessons that we will be focusing on is to choose between personal and reflexive pronouns. So that is basically going to be our lesson for today under our chapter of reflexive pronoun. And we are doing a tutorial lesson on aplusstudents.ca. All right. So we said that we are doing our tutorial lesson on aplusstudents.ca, which we are currently working in also. But if after the lesson you'd like to go back and recap and go over your work, we can go to aplusstudents.ca. The chapter is reflexive pronouns, English grade 5, and to choose between personal as well as reflexive pronouns. All right, so now a reflexive pronoun. Reflexive pronouns are pronouns that end in self or selves. It's still blurry. So or reflexive pronouns or pronouns that end in are pronouns that ends in self or it ends in selves, right? So self usually refers to one person and selves refers to more than one person, right? Then we have a subject which is singular, a reflexive pronoun. So we have a singular subject reflexive pronoun. And it's like saying I, myself, you, yourself, referring to she, herself, referring to him, himself, and it being a thing or animal itself. So that is reflexive pronouns. We say the reflexive pronouns are pronouns that either end in self or end in selves, right? And we have singular subjects and we have plural subjects, right? When it comes to reflexive nouns. And once again, if we go over our singular subject reflexive pronouns, then we will say I, myself, you, yourself, she, herself, he, himself, and it, itself. So that is also how they refer to them as individuals, for example, in a singular way. If we look at the next one here on the right hand side, right, it says subject, which is plural. So now we have our plural subjects, right, our reflexive programs. It's like we ourselves, you yourselves, so we have, once again, we have a plural or subplural subject or subject plural or subject that is plural, referring to more than one person, a reflexive pronoun. And we said we also have a singular subject of a reflexive pronoun. So we are we ourselves, you yourselves, they themselves, right? Remember when we say themselves, then it is themselves, right? With the VES, right? So we say selves. If you talk about them, then we say themselves. And if we refer to one person, then we say self, which is SELF. And here we have examples, right? Where it's either myself when I refer to I, myself, you, yourself. This is all referring to one person. Herself, himself, and itself. But now, if we make mention of more than one, right, then we say selves with the VES. So we say we is more than one person. We ourselves, you yourselves, because remember, you can be both singular as well as plural. And then they, which refers to them and themselves. And also a reflexive pronoun, right, is used to refer back to the subject of the sentence, right? And remember, a subject is who is saying or doing something, right? That is a subject. So who is doing something within the, you know, either it's going to be in a sentence or a clause, right? So a reflexive pronoun is used to refer back to the subject of the sentence or clause in which it appears. And it should agree with that subject. And we say a reflexive pronoun is used to refer back to the subject of the sentence or back to the subject of the clause in which it appears, and it should agree with that subject. And we said this over here refers to more than one person. So more than one person. And here we only refer to as one person, right? So if we look at a few examples, right, of especially plural pronouns or reflexive pronouns or plural subject pronouns, we helped ourselves to some soup. So we help ourselves to some soup. Ourselves, right? If we say we helped ourselves to some soup, then it means that we are referring to more than one person. So ourselves gives us an indication that it is more than one person. We helped ourselves to some more soup. And in this case, the subject of the sentence is we. We is the subject that is either doing the action. So we said that we helped ourselves to some more soup, right? And if we say we helped ourselves to some more soup, then ourselves refer to more than one of us, right? So it can maybe be myself and a few friends, or myself and my siblings, right? So then we can say that we helped ourselves, which is all of us or some of us, but we basically helped ourselves to some porridge. And ourselves refers to as much as each and everyone wants, they had to, for example, come and dish themselves. Let's put it like that. And then the subject of the sentence is we. And then it says, when we say we helped ourselves to some more soup, then our subject, referring to the person or thing that did the action, all right. So after the guests left, Amy made herself a cup of tea. And in this case, the subject of this clause in which the pronoun appears is Amy. So Amy is the person that did the action or did something, right? So Amy refers to herself. It refers to one person, which is herself. And as you can notice, right, we within the first, let me do this. Yeah, when we say that we helped ourselves, then we is our subject, right? We is the subject, and it shows that we helped ourselves. We and ourselves, right? It refers to more than one person. And then if you look at the other example, which says that after the guest left, Amy made herself a cup of tea. So which means that Amy is our subject So she's the subject. It tells us who did the action. And Amy refers to one person, which means that we can say herself. And herself refers to a singular, as a singular form. Only refers to one person. So herself refers to one person, whereas ourselves refers to more than one person. All right, so now we're going to a+students.ca. All right. So we said that a reflexive pronoun, right? It's pronouns that ends either in self or it refers to, or it ends in selves, right? It either ends in self or selves. And if the pronoun ends in self, then it refers to, it's almost like it's a singular subject, right? And the subject is the person or thing that did the action. And if we make mention of, for example, anything plural, like for example, selves, themselves, myself. No, we say myself, themselves, ourselves, right? Then that refers to more than one person. So plural form will be of the reflexive pronoun will, for example, be words like ourselves, yourselves, as well as themselves. And remember, we see that the you can be both singular as well as plural. And then we made mention of another example. And they also see that the subject needs to agree with the reflexive pronoun, right? And earlier on we showed that, where is that one now? Year. Yeah, it says we helped our children to some more soup. We helped our children to some more soup, which means that this refers to more than one. So more than one person. Let me just say person, right? Because it's ourselves. So which means that this is a plural subject. It's a plural subject. And then we said we is the subject. So that is, for example, we helped ourselves to some more soup. We helped ourselves. And like we said, ourselves, it refers to more than one person, right? And which is plural. Or let's say our subject is plural. And our subject is we. We is the subject. And remember, the subject, it basically is just the person that is doing the action. All right, if we look at this one, it says a reflexive pronoun can only be used to refer to the subject So we say the reflexive pronoun can be used to refer to the subject, can only be used to the subject of the sentence or clause in which it appears. So remember, only make mention of once you identify either your reflexive pronoun basically needs to refer to your subject. If your subject is we, then your reflexive pronoun needs to refer to that specific subject. And also when it comes to, we said a reflexive pronoun can only be used to refer to a subject of the sentence or clause in which it appears, and to refer to someone else or something else, which we called a personal pronoun, which we did last time, like me, you, him, her, it, us, or them. So those are personal pronouns, and it refers to, and it refers also to that, to our subject, which is either plural or it is singular. All right, if we look at an example, it says, Jake wrote a note for himself. So Jake wrote a note for himself. So if we identify our subject, then we will say our subject is Jake. Let me put it here in brackets. Subject is Jake. So Jake wrote a note for himself, right? So which means that our subject is basically Jake. So we say that we basically made mention of the subject over there, which is Jake, who wrote himself a letter. And the reflexive pronoun himself refers back to the subject, which is Jake. So Jake wrote a note for him, and the personal pronoun him must refer to someone after that, after than the subject, someone other than the subject, right? Which is Jake. Yeah. All right, so now if we look at number one, the activity, it says select the best pronoun to complete the sentence. So the pronoun, remember we said that the pronoun, it takes the place of a noun or takes the place of nouns, right? So it says, after 3 hours, the program porch light turned off for the night. So after 3 hours, the programmed porch light turned off for the night. So we need to select the best pronoun to complete the sentence. The pronoun. So we need to select the pronoun. Do we say self, self, or selves? Yeah, they say after 3 hours, your program porch light turned itself off, which means that itself will show the base pronoun. So after 3 hours, the program porch light turned. Let me see if it's not for the night. So we said after 3 hours, the program porch light turned itself off. So we're gonna say itself off because it refers to the program porch light. It doesn't refer to a person. So we don't have to say yourself, myself, itself off. And itself is correct. We need to select the best pronoun to complete the sentence, which is either self or selves. Remember, we refer to anything self, which is myself, itself, yourself, right? If it is singular and if we're referring to a plural subject, and then we say, for example, things like ourselves, themselves, yourselves. So now we need to select the best pronoun to complete the sentence. So here they say now, we need to select the best pronoun to complete the sentence. Will you please give direction to the Springdale Community Center? Remember, we need to give ourselves, we need to write down a profile. The profile doesn't necessarily have to be a reflexive pronoun, it can be a personal pronoun also. So, will you please give me directions to the Springdale community, which means that we are going to say, would you give me, over here, me, directions to the Springdale Community Center? So, me is the pronoun, and that is basically a personal pronoun. We need to select the best pronoun to complete the sentence. The small black dog scratched and settled down for a nap. So if we select the correct one, then we can say, will you please give, oh, we already did that one. Let's go to the next one. This one. The small black dog scratched, yeah, we can say itself, itself, and settled down for a nap. So basically, after scratching itself, the dog or the doggo or dog settled for a nap. So itself, remember, like we said, itself refers to animal or things, right? So we use the word itself and settled down for a nap. All right, so now let us go and do our test where we are going to be choosing between either a personal pronoun or reflexive pronoun. And remember, a personal pronoun, it either refers to me, you, she, he, right? And a reflexive pronoun, right, it refers to itself, yourself, we, ourselves, um, themselves, right? So that is a reflexive pronoun. So you need to know the difference when we are going to be answering the questions. So we need to select the best pronoun to complete the sentence. And like I said, it's either going to be a personal pronoun or it's going to be a reflexive pronoun. All right. So the guests help to refreshments from the trays on the kitchen counter. So the guests help themselves or the guest helps them to refreshments from the trays on the kitchen counter. Is it them or themselves? All right, so firstly, the guest is our subject, right? And remember, we said that our subject needs to refer back to our pronoun, right? So definitely themselves is correct. So will you please give direction to the Spring community? Remember, there's personal pronoun and there's reflexive pronoun, right? So we need to say, if we reread that with the pronoun, let's say, will you please give myself directions to the Springdale Community Center? Or will you please give me directions to the Springdale Community Center? Which one sounds more proper? Myself or me? Will you give myself directions or will you give me directions? I'm going to read it like that. Yes, so which means that we are going to select this is now a personal pronoun, not the reflexive pronoun, right? Because if we say, will you give me directions to the Springdale Community Center, then that is correct. So well done. Me is correct. She told themselves about the hundreds and of thousands of crates on Mars, or she told them about the hundreds of thousands of craters on Mars. So which one is correct? She told themselves about the hundreds of thousands of craters on Mars, or she told them about the hundreds of thousands of craters on Mars. Which one is correct? Is it the reflexive pronoun or the personal pronoun? Themselves or them? So we didn't say she told them about the hundreds of thousands of craters of Mars. So them is our personal and correct pronoun. So well done. Them is correct. Well done, everybody. She bought she bought herself or she bought themselves an easel, a few canvases, and a new set of paints. She bought herself or she bought themselves. Remember, when it comes to the reflexive pronoun, right? The reflexive pronoun, remember we mentioned the plural reflexive pronoun? It needs to refer to a plural subject, or a singular reflexive pronoun, which ends in self, needs to refer back to a singular subject. So do we say she bought herself or she bought themselves? An easel, a canvas, and new set of paints. All right. So if we select the correct one, we can then say she bought herself, right? Because herself refers to a singular reflexive pronoun, right? And then herself also, it refers to or goes back to, or it is, yeah, refers to the singular subject, which is she as a singular subject. So she bought herself an easel, a few canvases, and a new pair of set of paints. So well done. Herself is correct. They promised, they, right, referring to more than one person. So they promised themselves or they promised yourselves a trip to Alaska by the end of next year. So they promised, do we say they promised themselves or do we say they promised yourselves a trip to Alaska by the end of next year? Yes, so if we choose themselves, because themselves refer to, it's like a plural form, it's a plural reflexive pronoun, right? Which refers to the plural subject, which is they, right? So well done, themselves, because they and themselves. After his minor operation, Dad can likely drive, do we say myself home or himself home? So after his minor operation, Dad can likely drive myself home, or Dad can likely drive himself home. So Dad had an operation, but still he can drive home. Is it driving myself home or himself home? So we can say after his minor operation, Dad can likely drive himself, right? As him, which assumes that it's immediately after maybe he came out of hospital. So now he's driving himself home. So well done. Himself is correct. So himself. And then after 3 hours, the programmed porch light turned. Do we say itself off for the night or myself off for the night? So after 3 hours, the programmed torched light. The torch light is a thing, right? So did it turn itself off or it turned myself off? Which one is correct? Itself or myself? So after 3 hours, the program light turned, do we say itself or myself off for the night? All right, so which means that we will say itself because usually a thing or an animal we refer to it as it, right? So itself. But for people we say myself and so on. But this, in this case, even if we like when we say itself or for the night, then it is grammatically correct. So that is correct. So well done. All right, let's do the last one. In a few minutes, I will give myself a break from household cleaning, or I will give me a break from household cleaning. So, in a few minutes, I will give myself a break from household cleaning, or I will give me a break from household cleaning. So, in a few minutes, I will give myself a break from household cleaning, or in a few minutes, I will give me a break from household cleaning. So, we say in a few minutes, I will give myself or me a break. All right, so we can say that in a few minutes' time, I will give myself a break from household cleaning. So well done, everybody. Like, well done, well done. So that is basically reflexive pronouns, right? And we had to choose between personal pronouns and reflexive pronouns. Remember, personal pronouns, it refers to, for example, either me or them or you or he or she or they, right? Those are all personal pronouns, right? And remember, a pronoun, it takes the place of a noun or nouns. And then we have reflexive pronouns. The reflexive pronouns, it either ends in self or it ends in selves, right? So if it ends in self, like herself, himself, myself, yourself, then it refers to a singular subject, and a singular subject refers to, or it means it's one person, right? That is doing the action. And then also, if it is a reflexive pronoun, if it basically ends in selves, right? Then it is themselves, ourselves, or selves, right? And then it means that it refers back to a plural subject, which means that it is more than one person. And then we have itself, and that refers to one thing, right? Or animal. So that is the end of our lesson, grade 5, on reflexive pronouns. Thank you very much for joining the class. Thank you very much for being interactive. I am beyond proud of you guys, for even understanding the difference between a personal pronoun as well as a reflexive pronoun. So, till next time, have a great day further. Goodbye.